we're going to get into some film on Daniel Jones, particularly that game in week 1 against the Ravens. It was the most snaps we saw from him in the preseason. Now, do understand, I would like to lay out, and listen, if you don't want to listen to this part, totally fine. You could just skip ahead to the film. But I would like to give a little bit of context so you understand where I stand on Daniel Jones, okay? I've always liked Daniel Jones. I'm from New York, okay? So I have a real strong understanding of New York sports culture and kind of what has been the saga of Daniel Jones in New York up to this point. And listen, I've always been a fan of his game. Now, maybe watching him as the quarterback of the Colts is my punishment for constantly defending him. But I, from the start, have always thought Daniel Jones had the talent to get it done, right? Like, not producing is not the same as not having talent. And I know some of you guys are going to roll your eyes at that, but before you roll your eyes, or perhaps after you roll your eyes, let me catch you. If you don't think what I just said is legitimate, well, you do support Anthony Richardson, right? And isn't Anthony Richardson a perfect example of the talent and the production not meeting each other, right? Isn't Anthony Richardson a guy where his talent far exceeds the production? I just wanted to bring all of that up, and I just to have you know where I stand on Daniel Jones. Let's get into the screen share real quick. Allow me a moment. Sorry, audio listeners. This segment just not for you, but allow me to share my screen and filibuster while it happens. Make sure we don't share the audio so we don't screw this whole thing up. All right. So we're going to go snap by snap here. Assuming this is up. It is. All right. We're going to go snap by snap here. And I'm just going to give my thoughts. I'm no expert, all right? I'm not Dan Orlovsky out here on film, okay? So you're not going to get the best film analysis you've ever seen, but I'll get you pretty close. I don't know nothing, okay? So, play-by-play, here we go. Right here, perfectly on time, on the money by Daniel Jones on an early play. And again, the point in me bringing this film up is because I want you guys to see, right? And I'm sorry to stall right here, is I want you guys to see why it is that you can feel good about his ability to operate this offense. So this play coming up right here, I can't tell if this was an RPO or not. There's definitely a tell that I'm not aware of. But what you see is a play action here to number 21, DJ Giddens coming. And then these linebackers come down. And if it is an RPO, what Daniel Jones is reading are these linebackers, because you have a slant here coming out of Adonai Mitchell, and you have a little out flat right here by Anthony Gould right here in the slot. Now, the decision by Daniel Jones, this one ultimately is almost intercepted. What he's looking at, one, these guys come down. So if it's an RPO, he's pulling it, right, to throw. Now, I would like you quickly, because a lot of people are going to say this is a shit throw. I would like to set the stage. This guy right here, what Daniel Jones is seeing is what's happening. This guy is fanning out to cover Anthony Gould. And then you have a safety right here who's going to come down and cover Mitchell. And the idea of this is that this guy comes out, and this is a very, very basic passing concept for any offense, is you have a slant and a flat. And what it does is open up this pocket right here, because, again, this guy covers here, and this safety needs to get down quick. But either way, you kind of have this pocket of space, right? Now, number 5 here almost accidentally covers Adonai Mitchell, because watch as this play progresses. He was trying to get here to the outside to Gould. You can see where his body was facing and how he tried to get to him. But the hands he got on Adonai Mitchell ultimately were enough to disrupt this thing. Overall, I don't think a bad decision by Daniel Jones, just kind of poor execution overall. Here, he's going to take a sack. But right here, you have a simple mesh concept for the Indianapolis Colts. You have Ashton Dulin coming down. You have Tyler Warren coming across. Ideally, you kind of want to wait for these guys to cross each other before making this decision, but it is open right now, right? If you're Daniel Jones, right about here, right? He was just a half second late on getting this ball to Tyler Warren, which ultimately is where he's going to go, right? Because you have a Raven right here, an open space right here for Warren. So this is one where he's just a bit behind, but you see him stepping up, and I think he sees it, but just not quite. Listen, at least he doesn't fumble. At least he doesn't throw a pick. Boom, jobs back. Great throw here. Great throw here by Daniel Jones in traffic. Tyler Warren just past number 40, but really 2 guys on him. And just look at the precision here from Daniel Jones. That's a hell of a throw. That's a big-time play. That's not a play you're 100% sure Anthony Richardson's going to make if you're a coaching staff, right? So there's that. Next play. This screen. Gould, you got to catch it. You got to catch it. Daniel Jones leads him, right? Let's look at that again. Daniel Jones leads him, gives him an opportunity to run right up in here, and you have anywhere 5, 7, maybe even more yards. We obviously know Anthony Gould and what he's able to do with the ball in his hands. So that, a good throw, out of Daniel Jones. Now another one. Quick out route here to Ashton Doolin. Perfectly good throw by Daniel Jones. Quick, on time, on schedule. Play action. Great throw here to Adonai Mitchell, who we like to see make this play with a defender right here after what he went through last year. Great throw here from Daniel Jones. And, it's something that a lot of you guys are going to look at and say, well, not for anything. It's really not doing anything special. But that's exactly the point, though. That's why Daniel Jones won this job, because something like this that is routine for an NFL quarterback is not something you're 100% sure you could trust Anthony Richardson to do. This is a great throw. Great throw to put it in front of him, give him room to make a play. Good work there from Daniel Jones. Now here, Anthony Gould, once again, this has been a problem for him all preseason, catching, right? As a wide receiver, one of your primary jobs is to catch the football. He's had a tough time doing it overall. He's shown ability to make plays, but this is one right here. Great throw from Daniel Jones, and you got to catch that thing if you're Anthony Gould. Good throw. Now, here's one. Anthony Richardson, or rather Adonai Mitchell, and Daniel Jones. I can't help myself from saying Anthony Richardson too, right? This is what we want to be talking about, but they're not on the same page. A lot of you guys are going to look at that and say that's all on Daniel Jones. So what it seems like, obviously, is that Daniel Jones, this route right here, designed to be an over-the-top look to Adonai Mitchell. Based off the way Adonai Mitchell runs this route, right? If he's going deep, look how far back this guy is, right? So if you're Adonai Mitchell, you don't really have any advantage on this route to get over the top of this guy. So what he tries to do is give a little hesitation to force this guy to come down and ultimately give himself the head start to now get up and over his head. Him and Daniel Jones probably spoke about this after the play, just not on the same page about what this looks like. But in terms of the placement of this ball, not a bad spot. These guys just not on the same page. But if Adonai Mitchell runs straight up, that's probably about where it's going to be. But that right there is those two guys not being on the same page. Those are two things that get worked out over the course of the season. Now, here comes, do we love that decision out of Daniel Jones? It's not a bad one. Here's what I like about this decision. He made it quick, and he took a one-on-one, and he put it in a spot where, obviously, I believe they drew a pass interference here. You would think they would have to. But puts it in a spot, back shoulder. It's a good one-on-one ball for his guy. If I'm Shane Steichen, I'm probably looking at this and kind of the way the route develops, you don't know. But, man, look at kind of the in-breaking setup here that Tyler Warren has. We don't know if this is design where they're definitely going here. He sees the one-on-one and goes there. But look at this space right here. If Warren commits to this route inside. Look at that. Gets right in that guy's way. Almost feels like he was trying to make contact there. So it makes me question what exactly his role was on this play. But, man, if you're Daniel Jones, you could time this thing up on the inside. You might have a nice completion here to Tyler Warren and a touchdown. But not a bad decision here from Daniel Jones at all. And again, what I believe is a pass interference. Next drive, little rollout, very simple. Nice little throw here to Ogletree. Again, these are things I want to drive the point home. These are things you're not entirely sure Richardson is going to execute play to play. It looks boring. It looks simple. It looks easy. Those are the things that Daniel Jones is going to get done. That's why they're starting him. This is the one everyone's going to talk about, not this one. That's not a bad throw. A little underthrown, back shoulder. You like Mitchell to come up with that. Bad throw right there from Jones. No question about it. Fine decision on the check down. Fine decision. You would like Giddens to catch that, but ultimately not the best throw you've ever seen. This is a great play coming here from Daniel Jones. And, I want to speak to this one because this is one a lot of people were calling a really dangerous throw, as was I, in game action. And it's not to say it's not, but it's not as dangerous as you thought it was. And here's why. Look at all the open space here, right, for Ashton Doolin. Jones throws this ball, and it ends up being caught right over here. And it looks like it's in a whole bunch of traffic. But from this view, you can see just how much space there was. And if you're Ashton Doolin, if you attack this football in the air, if he runs forward and attacks this thing, right, he could easily be making this catch right here, right? And at that point, there's nothing dangerous about this at all. But because he fades back and probably doesn't even see number 5, because he fades back into this, it makes it look a lot more dangerous than it was. This really was actually a spectacular play from Daniel Jones. Again, Ashton Doolin could very easily attack this football, right? It's not too high. It's right there. He could attack this thing, catch it right here, and look at all the space he has. Instead, it becomes pretty dangerous, but ends up being a good completion anyway. But I'd like to point that out, that a lot of people said, oh, man, there's Jones putting it into traffic, making it where that could be an interception. I think that's more on the receiver, any danger there, than it was Daniel Jones. Great play from Daniel Jones right there. Look, attack this thing. Attack this thing. Attack it. But all right. They're going to keep showing it because why not? All right, this was his best throw of the day. This is a really, really layered throw. They're running essentially what would be considered really kind of verticals here, right? On the outside, in the sense that you have hem up the seam. Not verticals, I forget what you would call this, but you have Will Mallory on a wheel, right? And then you have this guy coming up the middle. And if you're in zone coverage on the defensive side of the ball, a lot of the times there is this open space here on the outside. And Daniel Jones, I mean, him and Will Mallory, talk about being on the same page. Look at this throw. Look at this throw. That's a perfect back shoulder throw. Puts it in a spot where only his guy can get it. That's fantastic execution. And it's that type of throw that he can make that you have to feel pretty good about for this offense to keep them moving, right? Good decision. Good throw there from Daniel Jones. Very, very nice. Here's one. Another great one from Daniel Jones, and that's a touchdown. Listen, simple execution. Okay, but the type of play that you can trust Daniel Jones to make 10 out of 10 times, and that's why he's starting for this team. Now, let's see this. That'll happen. 3rd and 14. I mean, what do you want? Everyone's going deep. I mean, he went where he's going to go. I thought this was the same play. It's not. So, great throw here from Daniel Jones. Once again, a beautiful throw to Ashton Dulin, who had a wonderful day. Again, simple, short completion. Very good. Daniel Jones missed one right here, if I'm not mistaken. Look how open Dulin is. Oh, gosh, he's got to throw that thing to him right then and there. It's 1st down and 10. Don't do too much, Daniel. This is the type of stuff we saw a lot from Anthony Richardson last year. Here's kind of a small sample size of it from Daniel Jones. You got to get this thing out to Dulin way earlier than right now, and he doesn't even do it. He goes over here, and not a great decision right there at all. Why that happened, your guess is as good as mine. I think Daniel Jones, some of his struggles in New York kind of just due to poor offensive line play. Yes, of course, he had a hand in it as well. But between the offensive line being inconsistent over there and all the criticism from the media, I think his poise to some degree as a quarterback, and this happens to young quarterbacks a lot, you kind of just end up damaged goods. You have some bad habits, and there's just some things you have to unlearn. I think as he gets more confident in the protection and he just becomes more used to getting consistent protection more often, these are the types of things that I think he'll make this decision in due time. I think he gets better and better as the season goes on. But, of course, no real evidence of that. That's just my take. He has to get that thing to Dulin. That's ridiculous, actually, out of Daniel Jones, if we're to be fair to him. We got here. Great throw from Jones right there. Simple throw, easy throw, on time, on schedule. Little high. Got to catch that if you're Dulin. No question about it. And there is Daniel Jones against the Ravens. Now, was that a perfect outing? No, it was not a perfect outing. But my point in bringing it to you wasn't to show you a perfect outing. Instead, it was simply to show you a guy who's on time, on schedule, and executing the offense in a way that you can trust week to week. The decisions you saw Daniel Jones make there, the throws you saw him hit, he will hit those every single time. And ultimately, that's what the Colts were looking at.